professionals who have led key reforms in governance and public financial management. Their insights will help demystify ICFR, addressing everything from risk assessments, control activities to effective monitoring and evaluation strategies. Let us use this morning not just to learn, but to reflect and connect. Let's challenge assumptions, share experiences, and review our commitment to excellence in public financial management. As we enjoy our breakfast and engage in meaningful dialogue, I encourage you to ask questions, share your experiences, and interact with your peers. Together, we can build a more accountable, transparent, and resilient public sector, one control at a time. Thank you once again, and welcome.
Thank you so much, Ma. All right. So we'll need to still acknowledge some keynote speakers that are here present in our midst this morning. I'd like to start with, in no order of preference, or I want to start with Mr. Gode Daniel. And we have here a representative from FRCN, Mr. Adeshola. Beg your pardon. We also have a representative from the Office of the Auditor General of the Federation, Mr. Uchechukwu Okpe. You're welcome, sir. Okay. We would go ahead with the first keynote address from the representative of FRCN, Mr. Adeshola. You're welcome, sir.
Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. My name is Adeshola Amao. I'm representing the Executive Secretary, Dr. Rabiu Olowo, the CEO of Financial Reporting Council. He wanted to be here, but for a situation beyond his control, he asked me to stand in for him. I am a director, and I head Directorate of Auditing Practice Standards. Before I start, I want to, first commend the SIEO for this program. It's very important. The public sector need to know what it is, how to prepare for it, and how to go about it. It's a very good initiative, and I think in the last 2 or 3 weeks, FRC itself has also been doing that. We organized a similar one here in Abuja, one in Kano, another one is coming up in Lagos and Uyo, just to sensitize the system, because what you don't know is greater and more than you. Okay, I think they need to project the slide so that we can follow through. strengthen accountability and transparency through internal control over financial reporting. Is his paper? If there are questions I couldn't answer, please, I will jot it down and take it back to him so that it could be properly addressed. Now, by way of introduction, let me start by say a little things about FRC. As popular as it may be, many still don't know FRC. That is the truth. A Financial Reporting Council is an agency of government. In fact, I've taken study of some regulatory agencies around the world. Nigerian at FRC is peculiar in the sense that it's one of the few agencies around the world that is combined all the aspects of financial reporting into one body. In the US, it's not so. In the UK, it's not so. Asia and some other countries, not so. So FRC is a unified independent regulatory body of accounting, auditing, actuarial, valuation, and corporate governance. In some jurisdictions, some of those things I've just mentioned are separate bodies. So that is what FRC is. So it's a regulatory agency of government, has a responsibility to promote trade. Many years back, when one of our former President Obasanjo, was in government, he went around canvassing for investors to come in, and they asked him, who is the body responsible for financial reporting in your country? So by the time he called one of the people behind him, who? He said, hey, it's one organization like that. The person happened to be an accountant. He said, one small is under ICANN. ICANN? No. So he pulled it out. And that's, if you read the story of FRC, that's how the then NASB, keep moving and metamorphose into the present FRC. So it has a responsibility to maintain public oversight of accounting, auditing, financial reporting, and corporate governance of public interest entities by setting, monitoring, and enforcing compliance. Because you can set standard. If it's not being enforced, nobody's going to comply with it. And that's one of the essence of this gathering. And I like when Madam was, trying to open the program, she emphasized on one of the reasons why this program is put together, so that you can engage SAIO to ensure compliance. I'm not advertising SAIO anyway. Now, one of the powers of the council is to ensure and to demand from public interest entities management assessment of internal control, including information system control with independent attestation. In 2020, SEC issued one for listed entities. So they wanted, so auditor ran to them and said, come, for us to implement this, we need a framework for us as an auditor, because we are expected to audit it, let me use that word, before we can issue attestation as demanded by SEC Act, I think section 60, 62 as well, together with FRC Act section 7 to subsection 1. Okay, thank you. So that is what necessitated this information. So the SEC now said, okay, they wanted to issue operational guideline for auditors, and auditor says, no, it is FRC responsibility. So FRC did that together with a smaller version of it for other entities that are not listed. That's why we call it management report, guidance or management report on ICFR for other entities aside from listed entities. Now, this is the document. Next slide, please. No, you've jumped it. Back, aha. That is the document. So we'll quickly go through it now. Now, like I said, section 7.1 and 2F of FRC Act asks that every public interest entities must submit their management report to the council annually. So who are the public interest entities? So like we also put it there, ICFR is just one element of broader concept of internal control. To those of us who are in finance function, any internal auditors here? DFA, thank you, at least, so we have the right people here. So what is ICFR? What is ICFR? It refers to a process and procedure that a company put in place to ensure its financial statements are accurate, reliable, and compliant with relevant accounting standards. These compliance are designed to prevent or detect or even correct fraud and errors that may lead to material misstatement. No system is perfect. No financial statement is 100% correct or 100% accurate. But material misstatement is what this thing is trying to guide against. And that is why necessary controls must be put in place. So who has the responsibility for this ICFR? Some will say we are going to demystify some misconception as we go. CFO, DFA, head of accounts, as depends on whatever nomenclature is being used in that organization, they have sole responsibility. But it's not only them. It involves everybody in the organization. It involves everybody. As we go, we're going to say that. So, like I said, the FRC guideline was issued in 2020 to be implemented and enforceable in 2024, and is applicable to PIEs. So who are these PIEs? Now, by the definition of the FRC Act, PIE is very broad, and that's the reason why some of these smaller entities are scoped out of it. They are part of PIE, but as far as ICFR is concerned, they are scoped out of it, not to overburden them because of their size and the nature of their businesses. However, anyone that wants, that desire best practice can go ahead and implement it. And when it's been implemented, please, it must be done properly. So this is definition of PIEs. The old definition is there, the new one is there. So the new one, government and government organization, and that is why we are here, because we are fully involved. You have listed entities, that is, in any of exchanges we have in Nigeria, non-listed entities that are regulated. We have public limited companies, private companies that are holding company of public and or regulated entities, concession and the rest. So these are the breakdown, how the Act broke it down to explain what is PIE or who are the PIEs. Now let's quickly look at the misconceptions that many people have as far as ICFR is concerned. Number one, is auditors wahala. Let auditors go and do it. No, it's not auditors wahala. In fact, auditor is the last person. What auditors is expected to do is attestation. No matter how rigorous work you might have done, that attestation is what makes it a work. Otherwise, it's just like financial statement. If that opinion is not there, it's management account. So it's that statement. So, but from the beginning to the end, the design of the control, the implementation is the responsibility of the management. In fact, assessment is the responsibility of the management. Auditors will come at the end to, do their own work and give attestation. So ICFR is only for large company? No. It's for public interest entities as we define in the Act. Now, ICFR only focus on financial process? No. It covers the entire activity of the organization. For example, in procurement, which is very common in government, there's procurement process. If right steps are not followed, any of those process, if it is breached, it could affect whatever we put in the figure as, for example, let me give you a typical example. You want to buy computer, let's say 30 computers, 30 laptops. You've advertised because it's good. We have the due process. The bidders have come, they bought their bid document. We call the committee to look at it after the expiration. They look at the process. And now, if at the end, where the right person who is supposed to confirm whether what you are buying is actually what you bidded for, you need an IT expert to look at the configuration of those computers. Otherwise, you may pay millions for computer, meanwhile you have junk in your store. By the time you begin to use it, you realize you don't have anything. So you can see, it's not just financial. The IT expert need to. The people in the store need to ensure that the right laptop is received, and the stock process, the normal stock process is followed until the last user, until the laptop is allocated, that is going to. Not even that. Who authorized it? Who authorized the procurement? Is it the right person, or have they? Me as CS or head of finance, I have the capability to authority level of say 200 million and approve something worth more than 500 million. Is that right? So these are the things that the ICFR is trying to strengthen. Control environment, transparency, to ensure that things are done properly. ICFR is one-time setup. No. You set it up and you continue. In fact, the requirement says annually. Annually. Now, ICFR is a fault-finding exercise and compliance body. No. It's not fault-finding exercise. It's to strengthen the system. It's to strengthen and make the your reporting more transparent, to show that the organization is doing what it's supposed to do. That the money is used for things that are meant for and they are properly accounted for. That's what it is. It is an activity aimed at strengthening the control environment, significantly reduce financial risk, improve operational efficiency, and enhance decision making. Lastly, the quality review by the internal auditor or management letter can meet the ICFR requirement. We've received some of these in our office, and we said no. Management letter is different. Management letter is deficiencies that the auditor observed in the course of their audit, and they write it down expecting management to show what they need to do to remediate it. So it's different from this. It's more deeper than this. Or auditors' quarterly review. No. So the effectiveness of ICF has to be evaluated using standard framework, COSO, and other framework as may be applicable to that organization. So with this, we can see that ICFR is different from statutory audit. It's an annual event. That is, financial state. So audit is an annual event, but ICFR, the review, exercise, assessment goes on. Let me give you a typical example. I bank with a particular bank. Before, if you you want to make some transfer, at a particular level, it will only require your PIN. As soon as you put the money goes. But as the money gets to a level now, they've changed the system. It requires PIN and another, maybe biometric or whatever. That's the control. That's part of it. So it changes. It changes. So it's not just one thing that needs to be done and forever. No. Now, who will do the ICFR? Who will do the statutory audit? Statutory audit is done by external auditors, but ICFR can be done or must be done by internal person, people within the organization. If they don't have the technical ability to do it, they can engage another consultant who is not their auditor. Because if auditor carries out such job, is independent, is impaired. You cannot do a job and still go and review it by yourself. There's a threat already. So it's very important for us. Even if you look at the guidance, the two guidance, both the one issued by SEC and that of FRC, is clearly stated here. Auditors cannot go there. That's not their area. However, if SIAO is not your auditor, he can do it for you. The other auditor, who is your statutory auditor, can do attestation. Now, what are the importance? What are the benefits? What can we derive from having this ICFR? Public trust is very important. So ICFR helps build and maintain public confidence in government financial management. And that's one of the reasons why we're gathered here. It boosts investors and donors' confidence. Now, we're talking about sustainability. And one of the things that, or one of the benefits of sustainability to any country is to source fund. But in doing that, they need credible reporting. It's echoing. Can you remove the echo? So they need credible reporting to be able to do the work. Accountability, it ensures that public funds are used responsibly and in a transparent manner. Also prevent financial misstatement and fraud, ensure operational efficiency, and lastly, enhance risk management. So these are the benefits that any organization can derive from having a robust ICFR implementation. So what are the limitations of this so-called ICFR? As big as it is, as beautiful as it is, as important as it is, it also has a limitation, or one or two limitations. What are these limitations? Don't forget that it's a process. Any process can be breached. Any process can be circumvented. So when that is done, you will not see the benefit of ICFR. There could be collision. Now, ICFR cannot prevent or detect all material misstatements if people don't run it the way it should be run. If they don't do it properly, you will enjoy the benefit. So therefore, if knowing this weak aspect or weak point as far as ICFR is concerned, what the management needs to do is to look at those areas and come up with a better and robust control to mitigate those deficiencies so that they can maximize the benefit of the ICFR. Now, at the beginning I mentioned people that have responsibility on this ICFR. Aside from DFA, aside from CFO or whatever nomenclature, every member of the organization. I mentioned you of procurement. DFA is not a procurement officer. The procurement officer has a significant role to play. The woman or the man at the store has a role to play. If they bring items, he needs to check the paper and ensure the item they are bringing is in line with what is in the paper. Otherwise, so these are the aspects. So the process is very important. Once any of those processes is broken, it may lead to material misstatement, and transparency that we are clamoring for cannot be achieved. So the management, the board, have responsibility. The CFO, like I mentioned, the CEO, those three people, the management are going to write their own report concerning, first, the existence, the effectiveness of the internal control system that they establish because they have the responsibility to set it up. Now, the CEO will write a certification that I, Adesola Amao, he will beat his chest and he can go to jail. Yes. We've received some reports of which the council is going to take steps on them in the nearest future. One of the concerns of SEC, I think last year, was that some entities are not ready. So work in collaboration with the council to come up with another, I think, public notice that if you must do it, that is the listed entities in 2023 financial statement, but it's not mandatory that you include it in your financial statement. The reason, in fact, it was when we saw some report, I had to clap for SEC for that initiative. Otherwise, our capital market would have nosedive. We received one, of which they are playing gimmick with turnover. They don't have accounting policy for turnover, and we know how important it is. So that means when they have much sales, they can say, let's push some to next year and recognize the one they want to recognize now. So these are the kind of things that, so in that situation, I wonder who will be that CEO or CFO that will beat his chest and say, we maintain the integrity of financial statement. So the CFO has responsibility, the CEO has responsibility, the board. So we're expecting 4 reports that will be added to your financial statement. The management report on management assessment, the certification by the CEO, certification by the CFO, then attestation by the auditor. So you can see, auditor is just 1/4, 1/4. So don't push everything to our auditor. But you need to work together with the auditor, and the time is now. In fact, auditors are expected to come in. The management is supposed to prepare their report 90 days to the end of the year. It's not fault-finding mission. No, it's to strengthen the system. Auditors are expected to come in 90 days before the end of the year and now see your report, look at all those things. You can fish out deficiency by yourself so that they can help you to bring recommendation how those things could be resolved. For example, if in your finance function you have just 2 people, so invariably, segregation of duty may not be there. Adesola Amao is the same one. He receives cash, he takes it to the bank, he registered it. So when Amao has problem, he can decide to put some cash in his pocket, hoping that before they discover, I can write my check and put it there in case somebody comes to check. But when there is thorough segregation of duty, that could be prevented. So auditors will come in 90 days. So auditors will now come and bring his own recommendation. He'll do what is called walk-through test. He will go back to maybe somewhere in March, pick one of your transactions, and follow the process you think you have followed. Look at the control that you've put in place. See how you've complied with some of those controls. He will check your risk control metrics. It's a big book that will contain all the risk that could affect your organization, the control that you've put in place, who will carry out that control. For example, when it comes to bank reconciliation, how often can it be done? If your own is done once in a year, auditor can say no. If you don't want people stealing your money, it should be done once in a month. So who should do it? So these are the things he will recommend. So he will go away again, maybe about a month later. He will come back to come and see whether those things he has recommended has been complied with. He will do that till the end of the year before he can say anything that is not remediated at the end of the year, that is not reported, then that means nothing is done. So you need to report yourself to the auditor. Auditor will suggest the better way to do it, and he will see that you have done it, and at the end of the year, he will say, truly, your system of internal control is effective. It's not fault-finding. Otherwise, he will wait like a LASMA and make sure you fall victim, and now, no. He will make recommendation, come back a week or two. How far have you done this? If it's not perfectly done, he will make another recommendation until the system is, until the end of the year. In the course of our review, I lead team that review firms. We went to review a particular firm, and one of the things we requested for was list of the engagement. Happened to be a listed entity. So at that time, listed entity must have complied with ICFR. So I asked them, please, we need this. I want to tell you the importance of documentation. It's key in this exercise. That is where the council, FRC, will be looking at. We've received some boilerplate reports, even for listed entities. What I mean by boilerplate, cut and paste. They don't have document to back up some of those things. So when FRC pick, for example, comes to SIO, okay, can I have the financial statement of CBN? If they are one of the auditors of CBN. Now, on the ICFR, we want to see this. So that firm, the firm I'm talking about, has 9 deficiencies on IT and some of other areas. It was not remediated until the end of the year. It's not mandatory that everything must be corrected until the end of the year. But if at the end, in the aggregate, it can lead to material misstatement, that is when the auditors will come up with the issue. If it might not lead to material misstatement, it will expect you that next year, as soon as the year opens, all the necessary steps, things they ask you to do, you ensure that you do it so that does not. But if it's not done, it can lead to, we have three forms of deficiency: material weakness, significant deficiency, and the normal deficiency. So even if you have one significant deficiency, a material weakness rather, then the account will be qualified. That's what led to the qualification of one or two of these companies that we have received. Because the design was not there. They don't have accounting policy. So if there was no control, there's no design at the beginning, nothing to implement. There will be nothing to implement. So now, we're talking about board. Board has few people that delegated their work to as far as finance is concerned, or accounting or financial statement is concerned, is audit committee. Audit committee plays significant role in financial statement. Significant role. That's why it's important. Even Kama also see the benefit. That was why I suggested that the person, at least you must have somebody that has good knowledge of finance to be able to champion that cause. But it's unfortunate that in this our environment, somebody will be arguing, after all, I'm an investor, so I'm qualified to head audit committee. Some committees, for example, in some organization, some committee that's supposed to be a medical doctor, accountant will not allow to be there, at least to head it. So audit committee plays a significant role. When auditor carries out his job, and the management rather comes out with some deficiency, they will pass it to the management, and who? The audit committee. Audit committee look at it, and they are the one to help push to the board. If it's going to involve board, for example, agency of government, that employment is not very easy. To employ is not very easy in government. So we have, quota and whatever. So the board can push it the audit committee can push it to the board. What can we do on this? So if we could not employ now, can we get 1 or 2% from another department to come and a kind of compensating control to do the job? So audit committee are the one to do this. They will check what the management is recommending that they want to do to manage those deficiencies, to remedy deficiency that's already been. And when it comes to the disclosure, they ensure that the proper thing is disclosed in the account. So audit committee play significant role. Now, in doing the ICFR, both FRC and SEC, they recommended COSO. COSO is key, and it must be followed. COSO is important because it's widely used. It's widely used, and it's adaptable to many business environments. Unlike some others, if you're strictly on IT business, you may have to use one of these framework together with COSO to set up your proper IC. So we have other form there. You have COBIT, you have ISO, you have COCO, and JSOX. But like I said, both FRC and SEC recommended, it's not mandatory. Now, when it comes to management assessment report, it must be included in that report that we are responsible for setting up and for maintaining that ICFR. Then the framework that is used must be stated. These are the things that we have found missing in some report that I am directly on the ICFR with financial reporting. So I've received so many reports. I've seen all manner of abracadabra. That's why I can tell you that some of those reports are boilerplate. They are not related to the entity. In fact, some of them could not have anything to back it up, no documentation to back it up. So you also have the responsibility to state, to show whether it's effective or not. The effectiveness of the control, of the internal control, must also be part of the report, and that you have also engaged external person to do the attestation. So now to the certification is very important. It's annual and periodic report that must be included in the financial statement. It is required by regulators, both SEC and the FRC. Then it provides assurance to stakeholders. Like I said, if I come there and say, I, Adesola Amao, beating my chest that the financial statement of FRC, as a CFO or head of finance or whatever, it should be relied upon. That's, except the person does not have integrity. Now, the certification should also include the responsibility of establishing and maintaining effective internal control. So certification statement is an important component of corporate governance and regulatory compliance, demonstrating management accountability for the integrity and reliability of financial statement, financial reporting process, and providing transparency to stakeholders regarding the organization's internal control over financial reporting. Some have done it. They face some challenges. They've surmounted it. Challenges are meant to be surmounted. So what are those things that those that have done it have faced, and those that are about to do it may also face, or can be avoided? The first one is issue of defining materiality. That's very key. That's the beginning. Because when you want to start the scoping, it starts at the materiality. And that's why you need to work together with your auditor to ascertain the materiality. Otherwise, you can scope out or scope down. You can take more or take less. And that will affect the process and the outcome of that exercise. So materiality is very important. Materiality is talking about what is the level of error that we can condone, that may not lead to material misstatement. That if it happens, it may not lead to material misstatement. For example, this is microphone. Hotel can buy it and say, well, we write it off 1 year. But they cannot do that to this, because microphone can go bad immediately. So they will not need to set that threshold. But in terms of ICFR, you look at the line item in your financial statement. You pick those line items and see which one has significant impact if anything happened to it. What are the risks that can occur to it? And what are the controls that need to put in place? For organizations that the IGR, for example, which is common among government sector, IGR is key. What are the controls around it? How can people play around it and siphon this money or not even allow it to get to you and they collect at the back? So it's very important. Performance scooping and skill assessment is also very key. Some people have had problem in that, but like I said, it is surmountable. Collaborating with external auditor is very key. For those that have not done that, you need to start now. You need 1st October to 31st December to call the auditors to come in. That means between now and that October, you ought to have done all that is necessary. You ought to have not come out with your own report to give to the auditor so that auditor can come in and do their work. So please, the time is now. Assessing IT independence, some controls are done manually, some semi, some full automation. So you need to know which one is applicable and how to go about it. Then business control and financial reporting. And then lastly, documentation and storing evidence is very important. When you are designing, you need documentation. When you are implementing it, documentation. When you are assessing it by yourself, you need documentation. And when the auditor comes in to do his own attestation, documentation is very important. What is not documented cannot be carried out. Thank you. In the next 2 minutes, I'll be done. Now, what are the steps to enhance readiness? One, comprehensive gap analysis is very important. You need to do that. This is where we are. This is where we are going. How do we get here? That gap analysis is very important. It needs to be done elaborately. Then resource allocation, it is gap analysis will tell you what and what to do. For example, I just gave example of a lean finance function. So that is, you need to allocate resources. You need to train them and build capacity. It's very important. It's not job of DFA. No, it's not only DFA that's responsible. It involves every other person. That's why the entire office need to be trained on ICFR. It's very important so that when they know their role, they can work together with you. One of the problems that the internal auditor, they do have, they see themselves as police, and that's why people don't like them. I'm sorry, people don't like them. How many people here, you have audit charter or audit manual that is made known to everybody in the organization? How many of us? Internal auditor here, everybody knows. Bravo, thank you. How many, who else? That's the problem. Because if they don't know the power that you carry, they don't know their responsibility. For example, when it comes to remitting advance, it's stated somewhere there. Advance 7 days return, otherwise your account will be deducted. So, but the man does not know. The next thing he saw debits from his reduction from his salary. Why won't he fight you? So we need to work together. So capacity is very important. Training is key. Then engagement with auditors. I cannot overemphasize this. It's very important. Engage with them early. Otherwise, you're going to have different reports. You're going to have a class and a different report, and you will not make the job for the auditor easy at all. So, what are the consequences or sanction for non-compliance? Financial liability or financial penalty, suspension or withdrawal of FRC number, and if your FRC number is withdrawn, it means Section 41(2) of FRC Act says you cannot work for public interest entities and earn remuneration. So if FRC want to do this, it's a big issue. I'm sure you heard of one CFO that is this thing was withdrawn and suspended rather, and that costs so much. So reputation damage is also very key. Aside from money, aside from FRC withdraw, whatever, the person's reputation will be affected, and it's also an indictment on our ability as a professional accountant. So because the council realized that public entities, government agencies are not ready, decide to issue this, next slide, issue this public notice waiver. It's a year waiver. That means your 2024 financial statement that will be reporting soon, that people have not reported it, should, you are given a waiver. But 2025 financial statement that will come up next year, it is mandatory. This is where FRC is going to hold many agencies to ransom. I won't use the word ransom. Accountable. Let me use the word accountable, because they didn't come to FRC for this. FRC, the CEO in his wisdom, believe that for government to, because of the enormous resources that could be required, that it probably have not been budgeted for in 2024, you may not be able to spend money to do it. Now we're in 2025, even if it's not budgeted for, you can do extra budgetary. You can do extra budget and pass it through whatever for this purpose to be achieved. Start, to avoid sanctions, start early. Ensure you engage the competent hands to do it. Ensure there is proper documentation both at all the stages, and ensure that you submit your report to the council. This is the next one. I'm not going to talk about that, but that one just saying that, we know, like I said, we issue 2 documents. One is for the auditors to be able to carry out the job. We have that is the, we call it assurance engagement report. It's very important. So what does that do? It's just to ensure that when the control environment is strong, auditors will charge you less. It will do less work. That is the benefit. When your control environment is strong, then you can be sure that the end result will be a very clean report. Your internal control of financial reporting will be effective and efficient. When you have weak environment, auditors will have to do more. In fact, at the end, it will charge you more, and also probably, if it's beyond its control, may qualify your report. So, now ICFR isn't just a regulatory requirement. It is your competitive edge in a world that demands trust. In conclusion, so by implementing a robust ICFR framework, public sector entities can strengthen their financial management practices, enhance transparency and accountability, and build greater public trust. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Let's give another one response to that wonderful explanatory speech by the FRC team. Well, my name is Oluwamayo Amao. I will also be assisting my able sister here. So that we go on quickly, we have some dignitaries in our midst that we need to recognize their presence. We want to recognize the presence of the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Women Affairs, Ms. Zainab Sulaiman Shehu. You are welcome.
Welcome, ma. She'll be coming up shortly. And we want to also recognize the presence of different people from representatives from Radiographer Registration Board. We have representatives from NSITF. We have representatives from NALDA, representatives from RAMFAC, Nexim Bank, and also we have the DG, Securities Exchange Commission.
Okay, also we will be representing the presence of Dr. Abisoye Fagbade from FIMC, Director General and CEO, National Institute of Hospitality. You're welcome, ma. We'll also be recognizing the presence of Director of Special Duties of the Institute. Thank you for coming. We appreciate your presence. Before we go on, we would like to hear a goodwill message from the Code of Conduct Bureau Department by the chairman. We welcome the chairman to the podium to give a goodwill message. Thank you very much, sir.
Dr. Abdullahi Usman Bello. You're welcome, sir.
You're welcome.
I crave your indulgence to stand on the existing protocol. Good morning. The shoes I'm wearing are oversized, so also the cap. I came in this morning with my chairman, Dr. Abdullahi, Chairman Code of Conduct Bureau. He stepped out back to the office for reasons beyond his control. He would have loved to be here. You may not know, he's an accountant of repute with PhD, a banker, a teacher, an author, an investigator. Nobody could have been here better than him in the midst of his colleagues. When he asked me to stand in for him, I was also not excited because I looked at the program. There is nothing that says we'll do a goodwill. I'll just come and show my face and disappear. Lo and behold, that is not the case. Just like what I saw on the program, breakfast seminar, I was also excited. Who would not come for a breakfast seminar? But having looked at the program again, I'm a student of English. I saw only tea break and departure. However, it's the labor I delight in obeying and serving. And I quickly have this to say. On behalf of the Chairman, Code of Conduct Bureau, it is with great pleasure that I extend this goodwill message on behalf of the Code of Conduct Bureau on the occasion of this very important seminar. The theme, strengthening accountability and transparency through internal control over financial reporting in the public sector, is not only timely but also at the very core of our shared national aspirations for a corruption-free and efficient public service. Code of Conduct Bureau was established to promote a high standard of public morality and to ensure that the actions of public officers conform to the highest standard of integrity and accountability. Our mandate is inextricably linked to the principles of sound financial management and ethical conduct that this seminar seeks to advance. Internal control over financial reporting, ICFR, is the bedrock upon which genuine accountability and transparency are built. It's a system that provides the necessary checks and balances to safeguard public resources, ensure the accuracy and reliability of financial information, and most importantly, prevent misuse of public funds. A robust ICFR system makes it difficult for unethical practices to take root and flourish. It is a powerful tool in the fight against corruption. This seminar, therefore, represents a crucial opportunity for us to deepen our understanding and commitment to these principles. I urge all participants to engage actively in the experts and to take away practical knowledge that cannot to enforce the code of conduct for public officers, and we see strong ICFR as a critical ally in this mission. I am confident that the deliberations from this seminar will yield meaningful recommendations that will contribute significantly to our collective efforts. Thank you, and I wish you all a successful, productive seminar.
Thank you very much, sir. You know, in Nigeria, when public sector gather together, you always see the people that matter, because public sector is the brain box of Nigeria, and even in any country. So that's why today we have dignitaries and personality in our midst that we can't ignore their presence. We have in our midst today, and we are glad to have you with us, Director General of Security Exchange Commission, Dr. Emomo Timi John Agama. Please, you're welcome. We also have in our midst Corporate Affairs Commissions, the Register. Please, we have team from them. You're welcome as well. And we also have representative for PENCOM. We are welcome. You know, with parastatals, they keep the country running, and that's how it is everywhere. So you are highly welcome to this meeting. Quickly, before we go on, we will have one more goodwill message from the Auditor General Office, who is represented by Mr. Uchechukwu Okweji. You're welcome, sir. Sorry if I didn't pronounce that. I'm a Yoruba boy. Apologies.
Thank you so much. My name is Uchechukwu Ogwe. Uchechukwu Ogwe. Yeah, I am the director in charge of Treasury Audit Department in the Office of the Auditor General for the Federation. The Auditor General, as the head of Supreme Audit Nigeria, would have loved to be here. And so just this morning, he asked me to please represent him here and to present his brief goodwill message, and to also salute SIAO for this initiative. And he said I should tell you that it is heartwarming to be invited to this breakfast seminar with the team strengthening accountability and transparency through internal control over financial reporting. This is even more so considering the fact that accountability and transparency are key concepts in the management of resources, whether in the private sector or in the public sector. Financial reports will be misleading and unreliable if the process leading to its preparation is not transparent, but laden with fraud, intentional misrepresentation of facts and figures, mistakes that could result in misstatement. It is imperative, therefore, and necessarily so, to design and maintain internal control over financial reporting that will ensure that the financial statements are reasonably free from misstatement and error. This will not only promote accuracy and reliability of financial reports, but will promote the delivery of efficient services by the government. The federal government, in recognition of the importance of internal control over financial reporting, has a plethora of control. Some see it as bureaucracy, but in the public sector, we have so many controls documented in different documents. We have regulations, we have financial regulations, but anything you can mention and the acts. These are to guide public sector or public sector financial management and to ensure accountability in the public sector. And these controls are really very, very, very important if we must achieve results and if we must achieve good governance in the public sector, and by extension, financial reporting. Institutions such as SEC, FROC, Office of the Director General for the Federation, Accountant General, Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget Office of the Federation, Public Accounts Committees of the National Assembly all play major roles in ensuring that financial statements produced by MDs are reliable, accurate, and complies with relevant laws and standards. There wouldn't have been a better time than now to place this issue on the table for discussion. As more than ever before, public expectation from government is high, and this cannot be compromised. Here, it is very, very important to note that if financial statements are not transparent, public trust will be eroded. Donor funds will not come in, and things cannot go well. So it is very, very important in the public sector, because public sector is the boiling pot of policies that guide public financial management. So it is very, very important that practitioners in the public sector must work tirelessly to obey government rules and regulations in order to ensure that the end product of what we are doing, which is the financial statement, is free of any error, even if you cannot give absolute assurance. But at least there should be reasonable assurance that you are doing the right thing in order to promote public good. I urge everyone, therefore, to make contributions that will enhance institutionalization of internal controls over financial reporting in the public sector. It is the only way we can say that the federal government financial statements are dependable, reliable, and accurate. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Before we go on, I'd like to tender an apology here. I said the Corporate Affairs Commission Register is actually Registrar General, and that's noted. Thank you. So we still have some dignitaries in our midst.
Yes, also here we have a representative from Nigerian Broadcasting Council, Mr. Aminu M. He's the Director of Finance and Accounting. You're welcome, sir. We also have here a representative from NDLEA. We have Kwankiyal Abdullahi. Did I get that right?
Don't you just like Nigerian names? Okay. Before we go on, if you have questions, is wanting to come for this seminar and listen to how ICFR will impact your sector, your agencies. So I know that there are some questions that you might want clarity on. We still have our speaker with us. Please write down your questions before we go to the second speaker. But while we're at that, let's just take the last Goodwill message from Director General of Security and Exchange Commission, Dr. Emotimi John Agama.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I guess the MC needs to go to some refresher course on pronouncing names. Because he claims that he's not from a particular zone or area, but the important thing is that he's a Nigerian. And at least so, if he can only pronounce names in Yoruba, then he has a challenge. Well, so it's indeed my pleasure to be here this morning. My name, again, is Dr. Emomotsimi Agama, right? So that he will learn it in future. He will be able to pronounce it better. And I'm the Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission. I decided to be here this morning because this event is significant. It's significant to the SEC. Section 60 to 61 of the Investment and Securities Act specifically speaks to ICFR, internal control over financial reporting. And my previous role as the managing director of the Nigerian Capital Market Institute over a year and a half ago, I was actually the lead in trying to propagate that, and also get companies which are listed to abide and to actually meet the requirements of the law in conjunction with other agencies. So for us at the SEC, it is an important event. It is an important milestone. And indeed, it's an important issue to be discussed and, of course, educated upon. And so I felt that it would not be fair, being an apostle of the ICFR, not to be here, even though I'd moved my role to becoming a DG, which even gives me more responsibility to making sure that the law itself is actually abided to. So it is indeed a great pleasure for me to welcome you all to this important breakfast meeting designed to foster dialogue on a critical pillar of corporate governance and market integrity, internal control over financial reporting. In an era where investor confidence hinges on the reliability of financial disclosures, the role of robust internal controls cannot be overstated. Transparency and accountability are not merely regulatory requirements. They are the bedrock of sustainable capital markets. When financial reporting is credible, stakeholders trust the system, investments flourish, and economic thrives. The theme of today's discussion underscores our collective commitment at the SEC to uphold the highest standards of financial integrity. By strengthening ICFR, we empower organizations to detect and mitigate risk, prevent fraud, and ensure compliance with evolving regulations. This, in turn, safeguards shareholder value and reinforces Nigeria's reputation as a destination for credible investment. To our partners in the private sector, professional bodies, and regulatory agencies, particularly FRC, I urge you to see internal control not as a burden, but as an enabler of long-term resilience. Let us collaborate, therefore, to share best practices, leverage technology, and build capacity in this domain. It's important to note that the law has specific prescriptions to the compliance with the internal control over financial reporting. And why is this important? It's important because every director, every senior management staff, every auditor that is involved in the preparation of the financial statement must take responsibility. And that is very, very important. Responsibility speaks to stewardship. And it is important that in a climb that we are trying to set out for international investors to come in, and indeed for practical investors to be interested in what we do, it becomes a rather very, very important point to make, that no one will be left out. And so it becomes an issue that we must all educate ourselves before we start doing what we call, medicine after death. And so that is why I commend the FRC the SIAO, and everyone involved in the education of those responsible, those involved, to understanding the nitty-gritty and the values of internal control over financial responsibility. As we enjoy this breakfast, if any, because I've been told it's only tea that will be served, I encourage open and solution-driven conversations. Together, we can pave the way for a market defined by trust, efficiency, and growth. At the SEC, this is our ethos. What we want to do is to make sure that everyone that invests in our market will invest with the trust and believe that clearly the participants in the market are following international best practice. We will not, belabor people into doing what is not right, because it's important to note that we are part of the global market, we are part of the global economy, and if we are going to be part of them, and we're going to play by the games and by the rules of the game, then it becomes important that we follow the rules completely and not halfway. So, on that note, I want to thank you for your dedication in this course, and I wish you all a fruitful deliberation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Director General, and I'm taking your advice. I'm going to improve on names. Thank you. So, while we continue, I want to also say, if you have questions, the usher will be passing around a slip of paper. After the next speaker, there will be question and answers on areas that you need clarity, further explanation. So once you see the ushers, they will give you a slip of paper, write your questions. So the next speaker, I will read his profile now.
Going on, we're going to take our next keynote address from Mr. Gode Daniel. Mr. Gode Daniel has a remarkable 35-year career in the office of the Auditor General, for the Federation. Mr. Daniel has left an indelible mark on Nigeria's public financial management landscape. He rose through the rank with distinction, serving as the Deputy Director of Audit from 2001 to 2014, where he led the audit of all federal ministries, departments, and agencies, as well as the federal accounts. And before then, he was an auditor from 1979 to 2012, where he handled both NDA's audits and the vetting of audited accounts submitted by various parastatals. Mr. Daniel's service took him across the nation from Abeokuta to Kaduna to Abuja, where he consistently upheld the highest standards of professionalism and public trust. He's a proud chartered accountant, a member of the Institute of the Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, ICANN. Mr. Daniel also holds a bachelor's degree in forensic accounting from Achievers University, Owo, a testament to his commitment to continuous learning with evolving global best practices. His deep knowledge of IPSAS, that's the International Public Service Accounting Standards, places him among Nigerians' foremost experts in public sector financial reporting and reform. With spanning expertise in internal audit, controls, tax, and financial accounting, Mr. Gode stands as a beacon of integrity, a mentor to so many. He is a worthy role model in Nigerians' audit community. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as we welcome and celebrate a man of honor, diligence, and public service. I present to you Mr. Gode Daniel. Welcome, sir. Please put your hands together.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm honored to be here this morning. And he has said, I served 35 good years in the office of Auditor General. And after that, I went to politics. Back again to Abuja. So by the time you see honorable, yes, I'm a politician. I'm inside. I've gone. I've seen. And want to discuss. This is Nigeria. We all must try and do our own part in it. Now, we just want to look at the IPSA and internal control financial reporting in context of public sector financial reporting. If you see the keynote addresses, majorly on private sector. And public sector is key. Is key. Anything that happen, budget, before anything, the budget is very, very key. And everybody, all agencies will be waiting. Yeah, what is the budget? What is the budget? Because public sector set the pace. So for this program, we just want to look at the learning objective. Say at the end of this, we are going to discuss the adoption of implementation of IPSA, because it's the IPSA that is happening at the at the public sector. We'll discuss the adoption, the journey so far. We identify the challenges and the implementation. Then we look at we enumerate the benefit and opportunity of IPSA. You know, private sector, yes, but this IPSA or public sector, how? We want to discuss the relationship between IPSA and internal control on financial reporting in the context of public financial reporting. How? We'll discuss. We set the recommendation for full compliance and next step. Now, because I'll just speak to it one by one, then we go. We all understand that IFAC is a worldwide organization, was formed 1997, and of which ICANN is also a member. The body is to promote high quality standard. That is what everybody is here to make sure that, yes, this accounting profession are doing the right thing and to safeguard the asset of all organizations. We remember the lack of transparency in financial statement, what happened in the early 2000s in respect of error. That is where fact, hey, there's a problem. We have to look into all this internal control. But they look at it that, yes, they can't do it alone. They have to bring public sector in. That is where IPSA comes in. Now, although this financial is purely private, but they have to come in, whereby we have IPSA, we have international financial reporting standard for private sector, while we have the IPSA for public sector. However, that is where IPSA board starts. They came in, they set up all the standard, and when the country look at it that, yes, this thing is very, very important, that we need to come in, and based on that, we want to look at the benefits that will be adopted if this thing is adopted. That we say that, yes, it increases the level of accountability, and that is what my brother said initially. If you look before this time, before International Financial Reporting Standard and IPSA, they will just send you the financial statement of all these companies, about 10 pages. By the time this standard started, you can't see them in that. Everything now is digital, because they are about 20 pages, about 100 pages on financial statement. because they have to tell you everything. Accountability, every system that is, if you look at the notes to the account, very detailed, unlike before. And that is the disclosure. You must disclose everything. Then we look at the increase in the transparency of government business. If there's no transparency, we are in trouble. We are in trouble in public sector. Stressing domestic international confidence in public sector. Public sector, that is my area. What we are seeing there is not palatable. What do we do? What do we do? Financial Reporting Council, Auditor General, Accountant General. What do we do? Increase efficiency in internal control. Then build confidence in donor agency. Because if they want to give them, they will say, Nigeria, what accounting system? But when they know that, yes, they have already adopted the IFSA, they say, no, we can give them. They will be able to account for it. It's very, very important. Improve value for money expenditure, enhance public-private partnership and comprehensive inventory of assets and liability. The journey so far. Actually, by the time the federal government look at it, that yes, this thing is very, very important. Now, on 28 July 2020, they approved that yes, we must adopt the International Financial Reporting Standard for private sector and IFSA for public sector. Following this now, by that time, we have National Accounting Standard Board. My brother is there. He's still there today. Now, that was why when he was saying that when they asked Baba Yabo that what is happening, he said, that is the genesis. I hope you know who I said Baba Yabo. Obasanjo. Baba Yabo. Now, then they started. The issue that they are saddled with the responsibility of setting, monitoring, enforcing compliance to accounting standard. Commence the aggressive sensitization of citizens on the new reporting framework. That is what the financial reporting did then. What happened was that they started. At that time, the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria bill was still being considered by the National Assembly. The Financial Reporting Council bill was subsequently enacted in 2011. The Financial Reporting Council now started training of all agencies, of all the private sectors, embark on a series of training on international financial reporting standard. Nothing much was done by agency on IFSA, ICFR. That is where the problem comes in. Then, to bridge the gap, please, the genesis. The FAC came in, said, look, since federal government has given the approval, what do we do? Then the FAC came in with technical subcommittee that they should start because otherwise we'll be late. The roadmap for the implementation was launched in September 2010 with proposal date of January 2014 for cash basis and 2016 for accrual basis. Remember, in government before, when you just buy is cash basis, there's nothing like accrual. No prepayment, no receivable, nothing. Then. But now, things are changing. So, the Office of Accountant General was given the mandate to be the secretary and to be the secretariat. Committee was set up, moving from one place to another, because the objectives that, yes, they want to look at the federal state and local government. Make sure that everybody will carry along. Then, training commence. But there's little they could do then. All the pump secs and DGs, then state governor, through the National Governors Forum, then the local government chairman, training of officers. Then the major challenge of the implementation is mostly knowledge gap training. And private sector, Financial Reporting Council, please, sir. Private sector, they understand the importance of training. But at our own area, they believe that, yes, training is welfare. When you are saying it's welfare, and very, very important, the manpower in public sector is, please, let us see how we can help. Even if it's in the budget, training, everything will be diverted. They believe that training is welfare. And the issue is that, yes, how can you have an asset of trillion? You ask paramedics to monitor it. It's doom. These requirements, which are the following, have not been able to be met. Because when you look at the implementation of the IFSA, we are saying they will first of all understand the National Chart of Accounts. Without training, how can you do that? Then say manpower development, no training. Automated information system. When computer started initially, they gave it to all the directors and they will cover it. I was inside that. They will cover it. They can't operate it at all. And I don't know. So, then when they started the training now, it is the directors, they went in and trained. Those in especially final accounts, they never know anything. When we started the training of this IFSA, I'm telling you, sir, the auditors majority auditors were not invited. Anytime we go and say, please, where is the federal auditors? They say they never invite them. Then when you go for anything, you say, please, how many internal auditors? You never see them. This control and everything is under public sector. Private sector, we don't have much problem. So please, let's see what to do. Adequate fair value of public asset up to now is still a problem. Asset, how do you value it? The closure of donation and grants, all these things, how do we do it? And if you don't know it, there's nothing you can do. And it's only through training. Now, disclosure of approved and actual budget. How? Understanding of accounting practice. To be able to distinguish between transactions to be debited or credit. Very, very important. Knowledge of prepaid and equipment, because as I told you, we were on cash basis. To be able to do this becomes problem. And it's only training that can solve the problem. Identification of assets is a very important thing that we must look into properly to identify it and correct asset valuation. Now, what is the relationship now? IFSA and Internal Control Financial Reporting. Going by the advantage and benefit of IFSA, as listed above, sir, which major on accountability and transparency in public resources. IFSA. But internal control over financial reporting is focused on identifying those what my Oga said. The DFA and the chief executive is trying to tell them, now please, you must see that there's internal control in your agency. Whereby say, like he said, I have said this, that everything is in order, and you put your father's name there. That if anything happens, you'll be held responsible. You'll be held responsible. And we need to appreciate the organizer of this for this, because majority don't even know anything. Shivamo, for your information, this Financial Reporting Council and this program, majority don't know. I'm talking even ICAN member. ICAN member. I'm a researcher. In one of our platform, everybody in that platform happened to be chartered accountant, not historian. I posted something there to test. As I'm talking today, nobody responded. To tell you, they are not aware. You have long way to go. Both the chief executive and chief finance officer, I have to say that they have reviewed the internal control of the agency, and they have found it correct. In case anything negative is found, the issue will be held responsible. Ladies and gentlemen, we just want to give this recommendation. These three major offices were invited. Financial Reporting Council, Auditor General, and Accountant General. We are talking of compliance. Private sector comply. Public sector, you don't comply. And Financial Reporting Council, what do? Remember, you have the department there, public sector, but they need to do more. Compliance on public sector is nothing to write home about. We have everything on public sector. They don't know, they are not aware. You are here, sir. All the Auditor General and Accountant General, how many of them have registered with you? God bless you. I'm talking live, I know them, it's my area. And I look at this law, the tax law. You cage, the law cage everybody must pay tax. And you must comply. If you don't comply, they will do this, they will do that. And when you will collect the money, Shivamo, and these people are going to collect the state government. 90% of the VAT is going to them, and they are not complying with this law. What do? Shivamo. The Treasury receive financial statement from all the MDAs. You, financial reporting, auditor, you receive. Accountant General, you receive. Review, you don't review, I'm talking live, what do we do? We are here, we want to discuss. What do we do? You see, I said, review all the financial statements submitted and call them to order. We assist them to learn and do the needful, not necessary, fine on penalty. No. Hey, we have problem. Oh. This financial statement that they will submit, nothing is done there. Academicians, they will collect it. They will say everything is done. They submitted it to Accountant General. They say everything is okay. Because I was in the classroom. They will bring it and show me, say, Mr. Daniel, what are you talking? See it now. But if you have reviewed it, you got them to order, they will know what they are doing is wrong. That is all we are trying to say. No issue of penalty. Review this financial statement. Auditor General, Accountant General, and Financial Reporting Council. I think I will need for you, I will need down to Bale later when I finish. Now, manpower development for the staff of these three agencies to know what to check for during the review. Also, you need this training. Training of lecturers in tertiary institutions because they are to produce the manpower for the private and public sector. And one cannot give what it does not have. Financial Reporting Council, please, this area, what do you do to the lecturers? Because they are the one producing all this. They are not aware of all this thing at all. And they are going to come out with first class in accounting. Financial Reporting Council to have interactive session with all the chief executive of tertiary institutions with their bossa in zones is advice. It's advice. Financial Reporting Council to have interactive session with the governors, not by proxy. Tell them they should come. By the time you tell them, it will flow down. Hey, I beg. Because the money that is going to them is just feel I will soon go. I'll soon go. Then, ICANN and ANAN should ensure that internal control over financial reporting is in the curriculum of mandate, continued professional development. Just say that you are doing MDCP, everything. Tell them they should put this so they will be aware. All those who retire, who qualified 20 years ago, they are not aware of this thing at all. So they should put it whenever they are doing the MCP so that things will go on well. Ladies and gentlemen, I really want to appreciate you. We have been able to discuss the adoption, we identify the challenges, and finally, we have given the recommendation. I believe, at the end of the day, if these are the three that hold us, once you can release us, we appreciate you. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gode Daniel. Thank you. Let's put it again for Mr. Gode Daniel. And I must say this, because when you come for forum like this, you should have key takeaways. And from what he has said, he said that IPSA is very, very important to public sector. IPSA is the IFRS, just like it's to the private sector. And why is it important? If we are here today talking about internal control over financial reporting, we want to ensure that our financial records and reporting are accurate. For the public sector, the easiest way to do it is what IFAC has recommended, IPSA for the public sector. Let's give it once again for Mr. Godwin Daniel. Okay, so before we go on, then I must say this. When the Director General of the Nigerian Security was talking, he said that we only have tea. Please, let me inform you that we have more than tea. This is breakfast, and you have breakfast. Thank you. So we have some questions here. Before we go on, we have some dignitary in our midst we would like to acknowledge. We have a group from the NDIC. We appreciate your presence here. We also have dignitaries and personnel from SON. Please, let's appreciate
You're
them.
welcome.
We also have dignitaries from Nigeria Bar Association.
You're welcome.
Please. Then we also have some staffs from Bureau of Public Enterprise and Mr. Imam Riliwan. Please, you are welcome. We appreciate your presence here. So we have some questions. If you still have your questions, please prepare them. And if you are joining us by Zoom or YouTube, please prepare your questions. We already have some questions, some fantastic questions here.
Yes.
So the first question.
Before we go ahead, sorry to cut you, my dear co-MC. We also have, we're acknowledging in our midst the Deputy Director from Federal Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Mrs. Hama Hayatuddin.
Please, let's appreciate.
You're welcome, ma'am.
So we have some interesting questions here. The first question we have is, how do we have access to the paper that was presented by the FRC? The FRCN. We'll get in touch and we'll make it available once we have the approval to do that. Then we have a question here. While I'm taking the question, please, the speaker can take note. The question we have there, to what extent can public accounting broadcasting foster civil trust, enhance institutional accountability, and bridge the credible gaps between financial institutions and public sector? Now, this question is saying, to what extent can the public accounting broadcasting foster civil trust, enhance institutional accountability, and bring the credible gaps between financial institutions and Nigeria public sector? I think that question is directed to Mr. Gode. I hope you have the questions. Then we also have another question here. This question is saying, what institutional and regulatory reforms can be required to effectively establish, monitor, and sustain strong ICFR? So what institutional and regulatory reforms can be required to effectively establish, monitor, and sustain strong ICFR? I think Mr. Mao will do justice to that. Then we have another question here. How can we implement a robust ICFR framework that will enhance accountability and transparency? I believe the speaker has spoken about that, but we'll also take note. Yes. So we have some questions from our online, the people who join us online. So I'll just take two, then our speakers will answer. We have a question from Professor Fodio. We appreciate that you're joining us. Management override over control is the most common and serious threat to ICFR in the public sector. So he's asking, please, what mitigating factors can you suggest to deal with this challenge? So the question is that there is a lot of management override, which is common in the public sector, and is a threat to ICFR. What are the mitigating factors to address this challenge? Then we also have a question from Anthony Uti. Anthony Uti said, commendable. Please, how can this ICFR be effective and reliable in public sector in order to ensure accountability to the general public? One thing about this question is asking that, how is ICFR going to build public trust? So with this, I want the speakers to answer these questions.
So we have other questions, but we'll take a pause here and get the responses before we continue. So Mr. Goddy, please.
Now, now, that's your question. That is it. So, what institutional and regulatory reform can be required to effectively establish, monitor, and sustaining strong ICFR? That one, looking at it from what I've said, is that once the financial statement is review that by any one of these three, this problem will be solved. This review matters a lot. Once it is reviewed, because, sir, I stand to be corrected. Our financial statement in government, my name is G.I. Daniel, is just like when a graduate, they ask them to write final exam, they now use their attendance to issue certificate. Once they just put anything in the paper, they will just submit, and nobody check, nobody know what is there, and they say you are submitted. That is what we are seeing, and it is not going to help this country. God bless you.
Thank you. So I'll call Mr. Mr. Amao to come for the next question. The question is asking, management override, over control is the most common and serious threat to ICFR in public sector. What are the mitigating factors that you can suggest to deal with this?
All right, thank you. I think it's about governance. One of the major problems that I've established or that I could see in the agents of government is, please, how many agents here, you have a board? How many of us have how many of our agencies, you have a board, fully constituted board? That's, no, okay. That's a problem. That's where the problem lies. Without board, governance cannot be, proper governance cannot be entrenched. It's not possible. That's a problem. So once the DG or ES or CEO, Director General will just be, it's a one-man, will be doing one-man show. That's it. So the board must be on ground and they are allowed to function. There should be checks and balances. You see, like we said, from perspective, I mean, when DG SEC was talking, they have their own guidelines that they've issued. FRC has issued guidelines. They want to enforce it. But the override is an internal thing. If it is done internally, there's no way DG will know. There's no way FRC will know. But it's an internal thing. When there is a proper governance, well established and structured and allowed to function, the override things could be minimized. It may not be totally eradicated, but it will be minimized. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I know some people, they have not written down their question, but if you still have questions, we can actually take two more.
I have another here.
Okay.
Okay, so we have, okay, it's actually for you, sir. So during your address, the question is,
Okay.
who is in charge to build ICFR?
Who is in charge to
yes,
do?
in an organization to build, to
build it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is what happened. The system of control is the responsibility of the management. They want to set it up. When they set it up, it's like, let's look at it this way. When you want to, come up with accounting policy, auditor can suggest. The management has the responsibility to come up with it, now push it to the board. Once the board approves it, it becomes what the management will execute. And they execute it and give it to the auditors. So it's the management responsibility to set it up, to monitor it, and they are the one to assess themselves towards the end of the year. In fact, regularly, it's supposed to be done regularly, at least once in a quarter, to see how well we are doing with the policies, with the processes that we put on ground for ourselves, to see whether it is effective. So it's the management responsibility. But like I said, it involves everybody in the organization. It's not just only the CEO and the head of finance or DFA and the DG or ES. No. For example, when it comes to the attestation, the certification that ES and the DFA will sign, internal auditor, these are the people that will put it for him. Based on what they have seen, based on the work they have done, the control they have, they've witnessed, the weaknesses there and the remediation that have been profiled, and success they have achieved so far. They are the one to write that letter, that certification to him, for him to sign. So if they have not been doing anything, that means he's going to sign his death warrant. So that is the responsibility of the management to do that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Please, before we go ahead with the questions, we want to still recognize a couple of people that came in while we're taking the keynote. We have the president, the National Youth Initiative. National Youth Inclusive Initiative, the president, you're welcome. We have a representative, the state coordinator of the National Market Council of Nigeria. You are welcome. Please, a round of applause. Thank you. Don't worry, our breakfast is prepped already. And we also have a representative, the special assistant from the National Assembly. You are welcome, sir. Thank you, thank you.
Okay, so going on the questions, Mr. Gode will want to also respond to the last question that the FRC personnel has answered. So, okay. Override.
Okay. With this internal control over financial reporting, it will assist, because once he knows that by the time he's going to sign the certification and he knows the implication, it will reduce this override. It's going to reduce a lot, because they will know that, yes, they can't continue to override, because I'm going to do this. So that is my take. God bless you.
Thank you very much. We have two questions here. This one is for Mr. Mao. Thank you for the wonderful presentation. What is the plan of FRCN for sensitization of the public and capacity building of all relevant stakes? The person is also asking, if a firm provides outsourced company secretariat and other non-audit service to an entity, but not audit services, can the firm also carry out ICFR implementation for the same entity?
Well, let me start from the last one. Yes, you can do it. So once you are not the auditor, not the statutory auditor of the firm, but you are under other services, you can do it. But this is what happened. Like I said, it's the responsibility of the management. You guide them to come up, to design, but the implementation is their responsibility. The follow-up is their responsibility. The assessment that they are going to carry out at the end of the year is their responsibility. Then the attestation that will be signed by the external auditor, so it can be you. You can help them to do the design as an expert, hand it over to them to do, and you leave. So that's one. So the second one, the issue of sensitization. I mentioned earlier while I was doing the presentation that I think the last 2 weeks we did one here in Abuja. We had more than 200, it's for public sector. We have more than 200 people in attendance. We did in Kano. We're still going to do in Uyo and Lagos. We are doing it, but it cannot be enough, so we'll still do more.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right. In terms of capacity building, I think that training, if you look at it, in fact, we have somebody from Accountant General come to talk about the GIGS mix, how you are going to apply it when it comes to ICFR and all this. And so we are doing it. We'll do more. We'll do more.
Okay, thank you very much. So we'll take 2 questions more, then we can. So my colleague, let's have the 2 questions before we have the closing remark from the managing partner.
Okay. All right. So another question we have here is for Mr. Amao. Seems to be trending. So. Okay. So someone is asking how. Okay, you answered this in your remark just now, so I'll not take it. Will there be any regulatory framework for establishment of ICFR for implementation? The guidelines.
The guideline is enough.
Okay, sir.
We have it on our website. You can download it. For the assurance engagement, that means the auditor that's going to give attestation will also issue one. They are all on our website. Okay. Just to ensure that you follow it, read more, the literature, to be on ground. Yeah.
Okay, sir. All right. I think that will be all from here.
Okay, so if you all bear me witness, if we continue, we'll continue to ask questions and questions. ICFR always bring more questions. And that's why, like the speaker said, if you need to do ICFR, you don't have the knowledge or how, you can actually outsource it and do, or you train your in-house staff. I will take this last question before we call the managing partner of SIO to give a closing remark. Now, this question is asking, who protect the financial officer in public sector who insist on ICFR to management who refuse to do so? And I think this question is very important. So he's asking Mr. Amao, who protects the financial officer in public sector who recommend ICFR to the management of the agency, but they are refusing or they are not carrying it out? I guess that's what the question is about.
Well, if as the maybe DFA, I recommend it to Maoga, and he turns it down, hey, there's no problem. There's no, as long you don't need any, that means at the end of the year, when you are preparing your financial statement, I, as DFA, I will no certification, except want to conjure paper and just put it there. He himself, as the DG or ES, there is no certification. Or if you want to do certification, that means it's fake certification. Now, our certification may mean nothing or much when the auditor comes in. If the auditor will be stupid enough to also issue attestation based on fake certification, then all of us will be dealt with at the end. That's the way I see it. So, but for the backup, you don't need any backup. You suggest to him, he said, no problem. We both fold our hands. That means at the end of the year, nothing to attest to, nothing in our financial statement. Then the regulator will pick all of us. Then when the regulator picks us, then we'll go and account for it. So, but like he said, we cannot exhaust all the questions here. The presentation will be sent to us, I believe. At the end there, my email address and phone numbers is there. You can call for further discussion. It's very important. Let's get it right. Let's do it right and get it right. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I need to remind us that this meeting is breakfast meeting. We don't want it to turn to a lunch or a dinner. So your questions, you can still send in more of your questions to our platform on LinkedIn and all our social media. Even having said that, I'm a man under authority, and my boss has given room for 2 more questions, which we'll take. Then after that, we'll close. So this question is directed also to Mr. Amao. I think a lot of people have a question for Mr. Amao. So the question is, my agency board has been dissolved. Who will sign the financial report in the absence of the board? Mr. Amao was talking about the reason for the need to have audit committee, the board. Now they've dissolved the board. Who is going to sign?
Now, who has been signing the financial statement? I believe they've been, except you have not been preparing the financial statement. If they have been preparing a financial statement, you have the head of the organization, either DG or ES, and the DFA. Those people, 2 people will sign and take it to the minister. That's all. Those are people to sign. So if there is a chairman of the board, you also have a opportunity to sign. But those 2 people are enough. Okay.
I hope that answers the question asked by this. Then the last question, please. If your questions have not been answered, don't take it out on us. We've said we want to leave this place breakfast time. And your breakfast, you don't want it to get cold. The last question is to Mr. Gode. I want Mr. Gode to explain how MDA should go about in identifying and valuation of their asset to fully comply with IFSA provision. How should they value and how should they identify and value their asset to comply with IFSA? I know Mr. Gode is an experienced IFSA man.
Now, when we started, we said at the time, the old asset, they look for a valuer who is going to value it. But by the time they contacted the valuer, the cost given was too much. What they did, they looked for in-house valuer, Federal Ministry of Works, they can do the valuation. But those current one, they have to bring it into the account. So at the end of the day, the old one, now they have to revalue it and bring it on board. God bless you.
Thank you very much. And at this point, I must commend us all. We really appreciate your presence here. We thank you for taking out time, blocking your schedules to be at this August meeting and very key meeting on ICFR. We appreciate your presence and your patience, and we do not take it lightly. So I will want to call the managing partner, Mr. Abiodun Aribi.
Yes.
Please help welcome
As
my
we're welcoming
partner.
him,
He deserves that.
I'd like to remind us that SIAO, someone was asking the meaning of SIAO. SIAO stands for the initial of our founding partners, and you do justice to that. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Esther. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. The apostle of internal control over financial reporting is Security and Exchange Commission for quoted companies. Financial Reporting Council compliance started from 2024 financial statement for public interest entities. However, public sector was given a one-year waiver. Consequently, ICFR must be included in public sector 2025 audited accounts. Distinguished guests, esteemed speakers, valued participants, and their colleagues, on behalf of SIO partners, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to every one of you for making today's ICFR breakfast meeting a resounding success. I would like to thank the chairman of Code of Conduct Bureau, Dr. Abdullahi Usman, retired judges on the board of Code of Conduct Bureau. Thank you for coming, sir. The DG of SEC, Mr. John Agama, representative of Accountant General, Mr. Shuku, representative of Accountant General, to the keynote address, speaker, Dr. Rabiu Olowo, Executive Secretary and CEO of Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria, ably represented by Mr. Adeshola B. Amao, FCA, Directorate of Auditing Practice, Standard Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria, and all panelists and contributors. Thank you for your thought, leadership, and for generously sharing your expertise. You have not only educated us, but inspired action across both public and private sector stakeholders. To our partners, sponsors, and supporters, your belief in the importance of this platform has been instrumental. We deeply appreciate your commitment to advancing governance and transparency in Nigeria. To our organizing team, thank you for your dedication and professionalism in putting this event together seamlessly. And to our attendees, whether here physically or jointly virtually, thank you for your time, engagement, and your commitment to continuous improvement in various institutions. I would like to specifically acknowledge representative of various public sector here, Federal Ministry of Environment, Corporate Affairs Commission, Nursing Bank, National Biotechnology Development Agency, Nigeria Press Council, Ministry of Finance, Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission, AMFAC, Bureau of Public Enterprise, Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, Code of Conduct Bureau, Office of the Auditor General of the Federation, National Agricultural Land Development Authority, Nigeria Deposit Insurance Commission, Standard Organization of Nigeria, National Bureau of Statistics, Federal Ministry of Women Affairs, Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate, Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria, Nigeria Immigration Service, Nigeria Bar Association, Nigeria Social Insurance Trust Fund, National Orientation Agency, National Primary Health Care Development Agency, National University Commission, NDLEA, Nigeria Identity Management Commission, Debt Management Office, International Committee of Red Cross, Securities and Exchange Commission, National Population Commission, Center for Management Development, Nigeria Investment Promotion Council, Nigeria Export Promotion Council, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, National Office for Technology Acquisition and Promotion. We also have Ministry of Judges, Nigeria Television Authority, National Assembly, Budget Office, Body of Benchers, National Power Training Institute of Nigeria, National Youth Inclusive Initiative. Youth are also included. Thank you for coming. National Marketing Council of Nigeria, Southeast Development Commission, Center for Peace, Advocacy, and Sustainable Development, SDG Abuja Alliance, National Institute of Hospitality and Tourism, and various participants that are online. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you so much, sir. Please.
Thank you very much. We are very grateful for your presence and all. But before we go, we want to indulge the MP. We want to give an award to our speaker in this order.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we are bringing. So we'll be giving the first award.
Yes, to the Executive Secretary. The Executive Secretary, Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria, Mr. Amal. You're welcome, sir. Yes. Okay.
In appreciation, we present to Dr. Rabiu Olowo, ably represented by Mr. Adeshola Amowo, the Executive Secretary, Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria, for sharing your insight on the topic, strengthening accountability and transparency through ICFR at SIO Breakfast Seminar on 6 August 2025. Thank you.
Okay. Next, we'll be presenting to Mr. Godi Daniel. You're welcome, sir.
Mr. Godi, my senior professional colleague, you are welcome. In appreciation, we presented to Mr. Godi Daniel for sharing your insight on the topic, strengthening accountability and transparency through ICFR at SIO Breakfast Seminar on 6 August 2025. Thank you for your time. Appreciate you, sir. The representative of Accountant General, can you come forward, please? Oh, sorry, this is, okay, we don't have audit, okay. The representative of Accountant General, can you please come? Oh, Auditor General. Oh. Okay, Auditor General. Thank you for coming.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Yes, thank you very
We'll
much.
go for our breakfast now, but we'll have group photograph before then, and I must say this. If your agency and public sector have not been mentioned, apologies. It's not our intentions. However, I would like to appreciate the presence of NMPC Pipeline and Storage Company Limited, who is represented by Mr. Fatai and Karim. We also have in our midst Nigeria Export Processing Zone Authority, with one of their representatives, Babalola OAN. So for all other agencies and parastatal not mentioned, please, apologies. We want to have pictures with the speaker. Please, can you come to the podium?
While we're taking the photographs, I would like to also acknowledge representatives from the National Library Commission.
So what's the module of branding? I still need to talk.
The photographs are still going on. We would like to also recognize the presence of a representative from the National Institute for Pharmaceutical Research and Development. Thank you very much for coming.
So we'll be closing the meeting with our breakfast. They say order is the first law in heaven. So before we do that, we'll take the national anthem. And after the national anthem, there are two tables, one to this side and the other to this side. Please, let's be orderly. The hotel attendants are around to guide us. So let's have the national anthem, and from then, if you're sitting at the front, you come, and for those at the back, so the national anthem. For the national anthem. Thank you very much. Please don't forget to take your breakfast, and you can also reach us for any further information if you have. Thank you very much. We really appreciate your presence. Thank you. So that stuff I sent to you, please help me share. Please. Please, SIO ushers, please attend to the high table, please. Our important special guests, please, you can sit on your table. Blessing, Tipdo, please. can leave this on YouTube for a few minutes. Is it sharing? And please note that if you want to contact SIO, our addresses and contact are on the screen right now, both for our Abuja office and Lagos office. Thank you.
I will still continue with the introduction of SIO properly, but I would encourage that we go to the website for further information. SIO stands for the initials of our principal partners. S. Smith, Ladi, and I for Itwa Igodalo, A for Adewale, and O for Odiachi Robert. These are the names of our principal founding partners. Please, for more information, kindly go to our website on www.siao-ng.com. Thank you very much.